Okay, dokie. I am live. Let's actually pull up these questions here. Okay, for those of y'all watching later on, hello, thanks for joining me. I'm planning on doing a live every Tuesday, and for now, we're going to switch between YouTube and Instagram. Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Hey, thanks for joining. Oh, hi, guys. Thanks for joining. I went live on Instagram last week, and I am on YouTube this week, so I'm just kind of trying to play it out and see which one y'all prefer. Let me know in the comments if you have a preference on that. But yeah, I went on Instagram and asked you what you wanted to talk about. I also went on YouTube and asked, oh, hi, what you wanted to talk about. And so I've got some questions, some suggestions, and so we'll just jump right into it. Okay, so first, we talked about this last time on Instagram, but resellers on Whatnot, and then also pivoting reselling business in recession. I think a lot of people are trying out Whatnot because of the recession, which is definitely, a good pivot, a good strategy. The only downside to Whatnot is that you basically have to kind of have somewhat of an audience in order to be super successful, at least right away. Hi, thank you so much. Hey, y'all. Oh, thank you. Hey, Daniela. Hey, Ginger Marvin. Oh my gosh, thank y'all. So, okay, wait. Someone has a question in the chat. But I haven't tried Whatnot yet. I'm planning on trying Whatnot eventually. I need to watch. I actually watched a couple more Whatnot, like for 5 minutes here and there, shows. I haven't bought anything, and I haven't really watched enough to know how it works. But I am allowed to sell there. I went through the little training. So I haven't really formed an opinion on Whatnot, except for that I just don't like that it's only, I would just think it's somewhat of a popularity contest, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Hey y'all, okay, so Chantel says, hey, so I got my first bad review because they said my items smelled like cigarettes and I don't smoke. What do you do about that? So was it on Poshmark? Because if it's on Poshmark, bad reviews mean nothing. And so you just, take it and you learn. If you want to make sure your items don't smell, you can spray them with this Febreze thing that we use regularly. Like we go through bottles of it. And, oh yes, Poshmark. Okay. Bad reviews on Poshmark luckily don't affect you whatsoever, which is great. There are people who do like to reach out and apologize or try to clarify what happened, but I don't even pay attention to my reviews on Poshmark really. I'll go through my love notes when I need to pick me up every once in a while. But they don't really matter for better or for worse. So I would just kind of, if it's a thrifted item, it might have been owned by a smoker, but otherwise there's not much you can do. I will say, in the very beginning of my reselling career, I was storing all of my items on this shelf in my bedroom, and I used to use essential oils a lot, and so I would just be running essential oils, and I got so many complaints about them smelling bad, and people were saying they were getting migraines, and I was like, I'm sorry. I guess I need to store these differently. So then I changed my storage system. Hey y'all, thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy to be on YouTube. I feel like YouTube's really my home base. Ginger Marvin, did I call you Kathy, right? Sorry, I called you Ginger Marvin. I know that's not your real name. Okay, so, but that is your YouTube channel. If y'all haven't watched Ginger Marvin on YouTube, definitely check it out. It's one of my favorite channels on YouTube. Okay, so one other thing. I think Emma, my social media manager, Emma, will you say hi in the chat? Is here, and she's going to moderate the chat, hopefully. This is her first time moderating a YouTube chat, so Yeah, there she is, Emma Party. Hey. So she's going to help me out so I'm not just sitting here reading through chat. Okay, let me go back into pivoting reselling business in a recession. So we are in a recession. We've had two quarters of negative GDP. So right, at least it's slowed down. It's declining. So, oh, I have to give you moderator access. Add moderator. Okay, there you go. Thanks for pointing that out, Emma. So that definitely is reflecting in my sales. It's one of those interesting things where during the summer, I made like a TikTok about this. During the summer, my productivity always decreases, almost always decreases. I think in 1 year it didn't, and my sales actually didn't decrease, but this summer obviously I had a baby, so it did. But my sale, for the amount I was listing versus the amount my sales dropped off, didn't actually like really correlate. Like I think I dropped off like in terms of maybe 25% productivity, and my sales went down 50%. So there's definitely other things at play here. I think it was also seasonality. I think it was also just the recession. So, and my sales are thankfully recovering in September, but they're not back to pre-summer levels yet. And so things like whatnot, I think, are interesting avenues to explore when you are going through a recession. I think a lot of us are like starting to really feel the pinch of the recession and ask, okay, well, what can we do? And I talked about this I was actually thinking about making a video about this if you guys want me to, but I really kind of talked about this in my I can't do this anymore video, where I am really coming to terms with this idea that I have been a big proponent of checking comps in order to price things. And also, sorry if you can hear my air conditioner in the background, it's hot. If it's bothering y'all, let me know. But checking comps not only to price things, also to when you're sourcing, but also when you're negotiating with different offers and so forth. So if you receive an offer and you're trying to decide whether you want to take it, you can always check comps and see, once again, and see if it is within the ballpark of what this item is valued at based off what people have paid for it in the past. So, but now a lot of the comp data is from pre-recession. So what an item is worth now may have changed, most likely has changed. Some categories and some items maybe not. But for the vast majority of clothing that is not essential, I would say value is probably decreased just because people don't have disposable income or they're just not spending it as readily as they were pre-recession. So comps data definitely still useful, but I would say like factor in just like a recession less 20% or something, create your own kind of idea of what to take away from that, but or what to decrease from that comp's like average sale price. But I definitely think that's something that has definitely been a factor in what offers I accept, and it's also been a factor in how I'm pricing things. And I'm probably going to just be a little bit more aggressive moving forward with both of those things, pricing and what offers I'm accepting. Okay, I am just not been paying attention to chat. Okay, so I had someone tell me something smelled like smoke, so I went crazy with Febreze on everything, and someone told me it smelled like strong perfume. Well, that's the thing. I don't buy the Febreze that has a scent, and that's actually really hard to find for some reason. So I get the Fabrics odorless Febreze, but Febreze is unlike other sprays, like scented sprays, and that Febreze actually has a really like revolutionary technology built in with it. I didn't know that until I read, I think it was The Power of Habit, and it was like that book is really, really good, but it actually does remove odor. It doesn't just cover it up with scent. Okay. You mentioned in a video making mistakes on eBay and being hit with extra fees because of it. I'm really new, so I'm wondering what kind of mistakes sellers are penalized for. So I definitely want to do a video on this, and it'll be easier for me to do a video on this because I can show my screen and show like the breakdown. But I've made so many mistakes on eBay. Yeah, I just really need to make a video on this. But the biggest one is don't ever cancel sales, like if you can help it. If you sell something on the same day on Poshmark and eBay, cancel the Poshmark sale. Don't cancel the eBay sale. Like, just never cancel sales on eBay. And make sure if you are cross-listing to delist. Okay, so let's move on to the next question on my list. How many times a week do I thrift or source? I go currently 3 times a week. I'm curious, how often do y'all source? I go 3 times at least every week, but then sometimes I will go more. If I want to go to a regular thrift store, I go to the bins 3 times a week. But I get that question a lot, so I'm curious also what you guys, if you guys go more or less. Tips for sourcing at the bins. I think every bins is different. Like, I've been throughout the country, and they definitely have just different kind of, I don't know, vibes, for lack of a better word, and also different ways of operating. But okay, once or twice a week, 1 to 2 times a week. But yeah, sourcing online too, and that's something that I think you have to supplement it. And sourcing online, I think, is a really great option because you don't have to leave the house, especially for me right now because I have a baby girl who I need to feed. And actually, I think this week or tomorrow, I've been on the Railroad. The Railroad right now, if you guys are bored while you're watching this for some reason, aren't working, or you need another distraction, the Railroad right now is doing 75% off. And they usually cap it at 70. So they have some really good deals right now. And I'm going to, on my Instagram stories, just show some deals that I found. And yeah. They have 20 hours a week, usually 3 days. Wow. 20 hours. That's like almost 7 hours each day. It's crazy. I go 3 times a week. I shop at Goodwill and consignment stores. Yeah, I do 3 times a week too. Only every couple weeks having a toddler and baby. Yeah, I feel you on that one. Bins at least once a week thrift. That's a good balance, like bins and thrift once a week. I think if I was part-time, maybe I would do it that way. Or if I can find more in my bins. This is an interesting question. I've never been asked this. Any YouTube crazies or stalkers? My biggest worry of starting a YouTube channel. No. This community is actually really great. I've never had any crazy or stalker. I think you have to be like really big in order to, I mean, that's a generalization. I guess it could happen to anyone, but generally I think it'd be really big to have like a stalker or something. And so if you're really big, congratulations. But I'm not big enough to have a stalker or like a crazy person. I don't even get like very many negative comments. The ones you do get definitely like get nailed in your head for that day. You just like can't get them out. But that's a whole other can of worms. It's something that I think it's just human nature to like really hyper focus on the negative, and you just gotta kind of breathe through it and let it go. You'll be up at night like just thinking about this YouTube comment and how you would respond if you wanted to respond to them. Okay. So Emma can't figure out how to pin comments, so I'm gonna have to read through the chat every once in a while, which is totally fine. Okay, bins once a week. Have you gone to Sunday Fun Day at Goodwill? Yeah, I wish that was the case here. It's not the case here. So yeah, it depends on what state you're in. But some states, yeah, every Sunday you have $1 a day, which is so cool. Or at least, I don't know if it's every Sunday in all states, but a lot of places have $1 days, but not in Portland, unfortunately. They should, I think. But no. Sorry, I'm burping. I'm drinking water lid. Probably not a good idea. Probably stick to tea. I found a $2,800 in-season dress for less than 100, and I'm going to try my hand at selling it. That's awesome. Is that online? Yeah, I'm glad you love these lives. Yeah, hit the thumbs up button. Thank y'all. um, I talked a little bit about Whatnot at the very beginning. I just don't. I haven't really had that much experience with it yet because I haven't done a show and I haven't watched that many shows. I tried to watch a couple of shows this week, and I have like bookmarked some shows, but sometimes I'll just like be, with my daughter when the show is on. I'm just not. Um, uh, I'm obviously going to be live with her, not live at a one night show. So I'm trying to be present with her as much as possible. But I do plan on getting on Whatnot eventually. I don't know, trying it out. But my reservation with it is I just the popularity contest aspect of it. Like what really gets me motivated is figuring out, like, kind of cracking the code on what kind of business model can be replicated by anyone. And I think it's just clear to me that, like, a Whatnot business model, you kind of have to have some, like, there's just some level of, like, following that you need, at least to have a successful business on there to start. I'm sure over time you can definitely build one. But like me going on there versus someone like me without any following, it's just going to be like I couldn't go on Instagram or YouTube and say like, hey, just do what I do on Whatnot, because like obviously, I don't know, that's what like motivates me. Just kind of figuring out like what can be replicated, and that's hard. I don't know if that makes sense. But if y'all have any opinions on Whatnot, I'm really curious about your opinions because there are definitely people who attend way more shows and have done Whatnot and have strong opinions on it. So I wish I did. I will in the future. The horrible algorithm. Is it just me? It's showing me nonsense when I look up comps. Yeah, I feel like they haven't really improved it. Like it's just like it is what it is now. But I need to sit down with it and actually kind of figure out how it's working these days, because I don't think it's improved since last time I've looked into it, but maybe they are changing it. But I'm not doing short titles anymore. I'm just streamlining it so I can use the same titles on all platforms. And my Poshmark sales, obviously are not the same as it was, but it's they're still okay, and I think that there are other factors at play as well. Okay, so yeah, but I agree. The algorithm's horrible, and it needs to be improved, and I don't think they have. Okay, I'm getting some Whatnot. I'm getting some Whatnot opinions. I like this. I found Whatnot to be very addictive. Thanks to Whatnot, I have a never-ending death pile. Only watched once, but stayed on for hours and hours. So you source on Whatnot. That's really interesting, because that's the other thing I'm not really sure about. Is I actually went on my stories and asked, what are you searching for to buy personally for clothing? So I was really curious, what, excuse me, my burping, what people are buying for themselves. So I could, like, if I saw those things, I could source them and set them aside for Whatnot. I think of you every time I find Maybell jeans. That's hilarious. But I think, like, sourcing wise, I was also thinking there was a period I was doing Mogi boxes, which I may go back to doing. And that's when I was doing bread and butter boxes. I was thinking, like, maybe I could just do that on Whatnot and maybe it'd be easier. But I don't know with shipping. Like, shipping, I can ship 5 pounds on Poshmark for $7. I think on Whatnot it's way more expensive. So, I actually think it'd be better to do it on Poshmark. But I tried to source on Whatnot. It did not go well. Anything decent, people price really high. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I don't know. I don't know. Should I try to sell things that people would want to resell themselves? Which I could just go to the bins one day and just sell everything from that bins haul. That's an idea that I might do, and just see if people want it for themselves or want it to resell, and I can start it at a low price. I don't know, but yeah, but I'm curious what y'all's opinions are. I don't know if people are shopping on there personally or sourcing, and I have to figure out what kind of inventory I would have, and I have no idea. Okay. How you calculate sell-through rate on your own inventory or while checking comps? It's almost impossible to calculate sell-through rate on comps. I guess actually on eBay you can. And there are some people on YouTube that talk about sell-through rate in a very different way than I do. But how I think of sell-through rate is on a monthly basis. So you take your average inventory that you had over the month and how many you sold, and it's basically kind of that ratio. And it's just a snapshot in time of like your month. If you extended that time period or shortened that time period, it would obviously be a very different number. And so it's really hard to discuss sell-through rate with other people because there's so many different definitions of sell-through rate. And so, I've had people come up to me and be like, I have 100% sell-through rate. And I'm like, what does that mean? That just probably means a very different thing to me than it does to you. So it depends on how you calculate sell-through rate, but I look at it on a monthly basis, snapshot in time. It's kind of like, I don't know, that's just another thing. Okay, I've sourced a lot on Whatnot. Sadly, many things come with flaws because I don't think sellers take time to look things over and they just want to sell them fast. Yeah, that's the other thing is like if you're going to have a Whatnot sale or show and you're going to like price things at $2, then the amount of time it takes to inspect things, steam things, lint roll things, you're probably not going to take that time. So you're probably going to miss flaws. And that was the thing with Mogi Box too, because I didn't steam things, but I did inspect things and I lint rolled things, and sometimes I would even stain treat things, and so it just like wasn't worth the amount of time I was spending. But I did get a lot of positive feedback on it, so I did enjoy, providing people with inventory, but it's just very time intensive. So yeah, that's why I think sourcing, I don't know what I think of Whatnot. I don't really like to sell to other resellers either. Clothes, because it's like, I don't know. I don't go on my Instagram and try to sell clothes. I've thought about doing that, but I'd rather talk about reselling. So like, if I'm going to sell something to resellers, sell something that's going to help them with their business. Like that's not inventory. I don't know. So that's my thoughts. I don't know. I need to form thoughts. Whatnot is really good and bad at the same time. I see designer items being sold for $15. Wow, that's good. Yeah. How do you deal with aggressive customers at the bins? I've gone once and that was enough for me. Yeah, I did. I think, wait, where are you located, if you don't mind just saying the state? Because I think it really depends on where you're located. In Portland, I think people are really nice, like more so than other places that I've been. I've been to the bins in Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Denver. I think another place I can't think of, somewhere in Texas maybe. I don't know if I went to Phoenix. I didn't go to Phoenix. I would love to go to more bins like LA or other places, but and it was just very, very different experience each and every time. The Portland bins are so nice. They're just really like comparably, they're much cleaner than other ones I've been to. And Denver bins were really nice too. I found people who were really nice there. Every time you see Hatch, you think of me. Oh, that was Denver. Okay, well, I've only been to Denver a couple times, the bins, so I could be wrong. Kathy, are you in Denver? Is that right? You go to bins? Or are you just somewhere else in Colorado? I can't remember. But I think, like, really, you have to, it's funny because I just went to the bins with my employer, my coworker, my team member, Tomas, my reselling, who works on reselling for me. And we filmed it and we're going to put it on YouTube next week. And after we were driving away and stuff, or maybe it was on video, I was asking them what they thought. And they were like, you just have to have a certain, like, aggressive personality to be there. Like, you just have to really stand your ground and be assertive. And I think you do. And I was not like that at all when I first started going to bins, and I did not like that aspect of it. But then over time, you just kind of get used to it, and you just sort of like, this is just how it is. And no one's like really trying to offend you. They're not trying to like, intimidate you. They're just trying to find stuff. Like, and everyone's just so hyper focused on that. And so don't take it personally, and don't try to get too upset, although sometimes it's hard when people are being just absurdly rude. But just like, brush them off and just try to stay focused on what you're there for. Colorado Springs. Okay. How far away is that? My best friend lives in Denver, and her husband's from Colorado Springs. So I think I went to Colorado Springs once. Did their like bridal shower or something. But and I think I went skiing in Colorado Springs one time. Sorry, I'm getting way off track. But anyway. So yeah. That's what I would say about the bins. Prepping for holiday season, maybe? Okay, 1.5 hours. Okay. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a drive. But I used to have to drive 3 hours. When I lived in Wichita, there were no bins, and I used to have to drive 3 hours to a bin. So but now I have to drive 17 minutes. It's amazing. That's why like, and I talked about this in my course. Wherever you live, you're going to have kind of an advantage and a disadvantage of your location. And I think you really have to leverage whatever advantage you have to the most of your ability. And I just felt like living in Portland and not being a bins-based reselling business, at least partially, I really wasn't leveraging one of the biggest opportunities here. And so that's another reason I didn't talk about in that video, but another reason why I wanted to switch. And I've always just really kind of wanted to try out that kind of business. I didn't have that opportunity with Sean. And by the time we moved here, it's almost like the pandemic essentially. And so we pivoted into liquidation, but now I don't know, I'm really excited for this pivot. And a lot of people are asking me how it's going. I'm processing items that were processed. I'm listing items that were processed in August, and those items were actually liquidation items that, we had set aside for stain treatment and so forth. So we did that, and so I'm listing a lot of those right now, but I'm about to start listing just exclusively bins inventory, so I'm excited about that. But now that I'm listing some items that were like repaired or stain treated, and I'm getting like, $100, $200 sales, I'm like, man, I'm gonna miss this because it's a whole different ball game. Okay, prepping for holiday season, maybe. Now that I'm in a bins-based business, reselling business, I definitely want to pick up more sweaters and boots and coats. Like when I see those things, I'm more likely to pick up, a brand that isn't necessarily like one I would usually pick up, because I think like being more category specific or category driven in your sourcing when it comes to seasonality is important. And there are certain categories such as coats, for instance, that you can pick up like a Nautica coat and it will sell fairly well. But like a Nautica t-shirt, obviously you would pass on. So there's certain categories that you can be less brand specific with. But and so yeah, I'm definitely doing that. And going into fall, going into winter, I think about those things like, okay, I'm gonna be more willing to pick up coats that are, not great brands right now. But now that I'm focusing almost entirely on pre-owned inventory, I'm probably not going to do well in December or as well as I have in the past. So that's just something that comes with territory of, selling pre-owned primarily. If you're selling liquidation or you're selling retail arbitrage, you're probably going to thrive come holiday season. Okay, someone's asking about what not again. Truth about the bins. I think I talked a little bit about that. Let me see what y'all are talking about. Okay. I have a funny story at the bins. I was sorting through my finds before checkout, and I looked around and noticed a pair of boots were missing. I saw that a lady had them in line. Oh my gosh. She just straight up grabbed them, walked right up to her, and told her she took them from me. As I was sorting, her face was blank. She just gave it right back. I felt bad, but she should have asked since they were literally right next to me. Awkward. Wow, that's hilarious. One time when I was pregnant, I went to the bins. I was like very pregnant at the time, and I pulled in and I had to pee because it was the one that's like a 30-minute drive from my house. And when I was pregnant, I had to pee like literally every 10 minutes. And so I get to the bins. I had my IKEA bag, and it was my favorite IKEA bag. It was like this aqua one that I purchased on eBay, and I just parked my cart with that IKEA bag like near the checkout, which is what I usually do when I have to use the bathroom. And I went in, used the bathroom, came out, and the manager of the Goodwill bins had put my IKEA bag into a bin and had put my cart back. And I was like, dude, what the heck? I was literally gone for 5 minutes. And he was like, sorry, abandoned carts. And I was like, abandoned carts? It was 5 minutes. And I was in the bathroom, whatever. I didn't argue with him. I was very upset though. And so I'm like looking all over the place for my IKEA bags. I couldn't find it. And this woman had it in her cart, and she couldn't speak English very well. It wasn't her first language anyway. And so I go up to her and I'm like, can I have this back? Like, it's mine. Like, the guy just put it back. And she thought I was talking about the vacuum cleaner in her cart. And she was like, no, I can't give it back. Like, I found it. And I was like, please, like, I paid money for it. It's mine. It's my property. Can you please give it back? And she was like, no. And then I finally like pointed to it. And she's like, oh, yeah, you can have it. I don't care. And she didn't say it. She's like, oh, yeah, here. But I was like, anyway, that was a long story about nothing. Okay. that was my pregnant. I was like so flustered at the beginning of that trip. Anyways, okay. I'm in northern New Jersey, and we have a brand new bins here 15 minutes from me. I don't go too aggressive. I prefer sourcing at the regular Goodwill. Yeah, that's how I was when I first moved here too. It's just like it takes some adjustment because it's definitely just a whole different life. And another reason I didn't like the bins in the beginning is I felt like it was less efficient, which it kind of sometimes is, because you can go into if you have like an hour, say, you can go into a Goodwill, you can go through all the categories that you know so well. You can find most of the things in that thrift store that are going to be profitable within a select period of time. At the bins, however, it takes a long time to go through everything with your hands. And then you have to wait around for bins rotations, and it just is somewhat inefficient. But the one I go to is so big now that I'm never really waiting around, and I usually find things regularly enough that it makes sense. I can be more efficient, but yeah, that's another reason I did not like the bins at first, and it took me some time to adjust. You change the way you show your haul by adding the screenshot, not just showing at your place with everything on hangers. I missed that thoughts. So I'm shooting just a really big haul now that I think is going to come out in a couple of weeks. But yeah, if you guys like that style video, I can definitely go back to it. I just wanted to try some different things out. I'm like just playing around with a bunch of different formats, and we'll just see what does well on YouTube, essentially. My bins are full of resellers, but they must be looking for different items than women's clothing. The aggressive people just send like logos for 5 minutes. Then I go leisurely pull out because I know that's how it is. It's usually like bros at our Goodwill bins anyway, and they're just like throw things. It's so annoying because you're like going through the bin and they just come in and they totally mess up like all your order or whatever. But it is what it is. Like they're there looking for whatever they're looking for. I'm looking for whatever I'm looking for. At least we're not looking for the same thing. So I think a lot of like t-shirt people are at my bins. I don't know what they're looking for. When you say process, what does that entail? For example, what does that look like for you? So for a bins item, what I will do is I will log everything from the bins into a spreadsheet, and then that's how I calculate my cost of goods. I had like a spreadsheet set up that, I put in my total, then all the, depending on the number of items on that spreadsheet is, divide my total cost divided by the number of items I found. That's my cost of goods. And then I'll stain treat things at home that I need to stain treat or launder things at home that I need to wash. But then I will take it to the office, drop it off. Tomas, who works at the office, will then take it from there. They will create a listing essentially for that item, and then they'll steam it and photograph it. And then my virtual assistant will edit the photos and create the listing and cross-list the listing. And then leave it in drafts for all of them. And then I will go through, price it, and list it. So that's kind of our process in a nutshell. I guess I've never made a video on that. Maybe I should do that. But yeah, that is essentially what our process is. Have you encountered Goodwill clearance centers like the bins except not pay by the pound? No. Is that a thing? I've never heard of that. Or like $3 per item or 10 clothing items for $25. No, I've never heard of that. I know, I felt so bad for the person who took my bag. I was like harassing them. I called Matt and I'm like, I just harassed someone who like had no idea what I was saying for 5 minutes. Oh man, yeah, I felt poor lady. That is true. But she was very nice about it, and we laughed, after we figured out what we were talking about. I have one bins near me, but I can't solely source there. Just not good enough inventory. Yeah. Because not all bins are the same, just like not all Goodwills are the same. The Goodwill locations here I've gotten in Maryland. I lived in Maryland for a year. I've gotten really expensive. I usually go to the bins or Second Avenue for reselling. Yeah, that's the other thing is the regular Goodwills here are super expensive now. Okay. We won't be bringing our spreadsheet back for purchase. Our bin spreadsheet that I'm talking about is different. We are launching another product at the end of this year, hopefully, and it is a lot better than the spreadsheet. Hopefully. We've been working on it for 2 years now. A video on processes would be interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I wish I had someone else to do the listing. Well, that's why. So, I basically created this business model, or this not business model, this business that I love, that I set out to create in the beginning, where my goal was I only want to source and like maybe check listings, and I've essentially accomplished that, which is cool. Like my ideal day I used to think about was just like going sourcing and then dropping stuff off, and that's all I did every day. I don't do that exactly. There are still some other things I have to do, but like I'll also add stock photos, which takes some time. But what was I saying? But like I'm pretty dang close. Like I really don't have to do much. I just source and price, and then I do YouTube, which takes time, and TikToks, which take time, and sourcing just takes a long time. But okay, but yeah, I'm really happy with like the systems that I've created, because I don't have to do the things I hate, which is primarily photographing. I hated photographing. I actually like shipping and I like inventorying, but I'm fine not having to do those things too. Thank you. Wow, you have 17 grandkids. It's so funny because I think about all the time about grandkids. I've never in my life thought about having grandkids. Because like I was in my 20s, like no one in their 20s is like, wow, I can't wait to have grandkids. But now that I have a daughter, I don't know, I'm like, I just think, I don't know if she's even gonna want kids, and I'm not gonna pressure her to have kids, but if she does end up wanting to have kids, and I do have the privilege of living that long to see that, I think it's gonna be so cool seeing her like in her pregnancy journey and having kids. Like I could cry right now thinking about it. Like that's just so cool. So Anyway. The one Goodwill in my town is less than 5 minutes from me, but they do not have bins day. Yeah, nor colored tags day. Interesting. They just have senior citizen discount once per week and military discount. That's crazy. No, they're not trying to move that inventory at all. Jeez, that's crazy. Ours at least has like the color tag week, like color of the week. Okay, let me see on this list of questions if there's anything else that I need to cover. I would love to hear about brands that do best for you. Just discovered your videos and they are my favorite. Maybe I'll just like go through my recent sales and look at brands that have been doing well for me. Oh gosh, Mike, wake up. Sold a Veronica Beard Blast today. That's good. Oh, these Winnie Harlow Steve Madden boots sold today. I had them listed for 100. They sold for 70. It took a little while for those to sell, but I thrifted those. So that was a really good sale. Ginny U, really good if you can find it in excellent condition. It's kind of hard to find in excellent condition because it's a bridesmaid's dress brand. MacDougall, I sold a dress. If you ever come across MacDougall, pick it up at the thrift store or the bins. Mac, M-A-C space Dougal, D-U-G-G-A-L. Money. And I've had people find it at the thrift store and DM me about it, and I'm like, I'm very jealous. I've never found it at the thrift store. I got that in liquidation, but it's money. J. Crew Collection cashmere hoodie that sold within like 1 or 2 days. I picked that up at the bins and only sold for $30. I had it listed for 60, but I accepted an offer for 30 because I was just like, it's a bins item. I'm in the business of moving things these days. Why do I find so much Madewell? I know. Well, people here in Portland love Madewell. We have Madewell, or at least a couple of them. Wichita, Kansas, there was no Madewell. There was no Anthropology. So people shopped at like TJ Maxx, and that's kind of what you found, which was annoying. But of course, you can shop online now, thankfully. So I did find something. I've been reselling for about a month and a half, and honestly love it already. Yay! Congratulations! Welcome to reselling. I've also learned flea market swap meets. Ooh, are a great way to source. You just have to go early. That's cool. I've been thinking about. I've always wanted to like make friends who are fashionable and then do like a clothing swap, a closet swap, and be like, I'll just take whatever you guys don't want. So, but I've never done that. I used to go to clothing swaps when I lived in New York. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm burping so much. At what point did I decide to hire help? I'm at a point where my sales have steadily increased with over $22,000 in revenue last month. That's amazing. Unfortunately, my profit margin is as high as yours, but still, that's incredible. Good job. But I have a family, and trying to balance is hard. I do all my sourcing and shipping and inventory, and I'm burnt out. Well, the fact that you have done that all yourself is really incredible. So give yourself a huge pat on the back. Congratulations. This is what I did, and I think it's a good recommendation. I don't know. It's going to be depending. What I did is I found kind of a family friend. It was actually a girl that Matt coached in volleyball, and he just basically asked. He used to be a coach in volleyball for high schoolers, so he asked his club team, like, does anyone want a job, part-time job? And one person did. One person was like looking for jobs, and they really wanted to go into fashion, so having a clothing job was like perfect for them. And so I just hired her after school, like 3 times a week, to come photograph for me. And she would just come for like 3 hours, and I'd have a bunch of stuff ready for her to photograph because I hated photographing. And like I said earlier, and so that increased my productivity levels so much. And it was also really good because it was like I didn't have a full-time employee, which taking on a full-time employee is like a level of responsibility that's pretty high. And even taking on like an adult part-time employee who relies on that income, it's just like it's a big responsibility, because if it doesn't work out and you fire them, which I've had to do before, you're stripping them of their ability to make money, which is just really hard. So I think the first good way to enter into this is just hiring someone who's just looking for a little bit of money, who you can hire for like, I don't know, 10 or less hours a week. And you can also learn how to do payroll that way. And I would highly recommend Gusto. If anyone wants to use Gusto, DM me please, and I will give you a link, and you'll get like $200 and I'll get $300. So do it. I had one person who used my link, and I got like a $300 Visa gift card, and I bought takeout on it for like months. It was great. But anyway, yeah, if you ever want to hire, definitely use Gusto. It's like the biggest lifesaver, because I used an accountant to do payroll at first, and it was a nightmare because like just the communication of having to communicate my hours and then having to track and log it. Gusto makes it so easy, and it's pretty cheap. You know, I think like $50 a month, which, and I think if you have like just one part-time employee, it'd probably be cheaper. But anyway, that's what I recommend. Just find someone like a family friend, some like a high school student, someone who's just not relying entirely on that income, but wants to make a little bit of extra money. Pick the part of reselling that you like the least. You can either do it that way, or you can pick the part that is most easily trainable. And in fact, I talked about this in my live last time. Like, if you're going to create a training manual for anything, I think the best thing to create a training manual first is shipping, because then you can leave your store running when you go on vacation, or you know, you get sick or whatever it may be, and you can hand over that training manual to someone, whether it be, you know, your partner, your dad, you know, family, someone in your family, a close friend who is willing to do it for you, and you can pay, and you can just hand them that training manual. You want to create like short videos, it's really not that hard. And then they can just come in and do your shipping for you. And I really like to streamline our shipping, or systematize our shipping, just like I make it like not very complex. Like, we don't do international shipping on eBay except for a global shipping program, which makes it really easy. We really kind of follow a very simple system. I could probably save some money by going into like, what is it, regional cubic shipping? I don't know, but we don't do that. We just do like first class and then priority mail. Those are the only two we do, and just leave it really simple on purpose. Because even if I lose an ounce of savings, it's just really easy to train. It's really easy and streamlined, saves time, and just cut out all the rest. I'm sure there are some people who would say that I should be doing more, but or just different. But anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, so you can either do it that way, where you like just give them what I did. You photograph, I'll train you how to photograph. It's pretty easy. Or you could train them in the easiest things. So the easiest thing for me is inventory. And so I would just train them in like how to inventory items. You like put it in a bag and write down where it is. Like, you fold it. I have a folding mat that we use that makes things look really nice. You put it in the bag. You write down what bag number it's in, and then that's inventory. Like, you can train a dog to do it probably. No, not really, because they get dog hair on everything, but I don't care. But you know what I mean. So you could either do it that way, depending on their competency level, or you could just give them the thing you like least. Oh, I was going through my sales. I'm a little bit all over the place today. So, have I sourced through yard or garage sales? When I was a vintage seller on Etsy, which is what I did when I was 16, I would go to estate sales exclusively. When I lived in Wichita, I'd go to estate sales every once in a while. I do get the estate sale email, and I've gone to a couple of garage sales here in Portland, like one that was great, but since Portland's pretty spread out and gas is really expensive, and I can't go to a garage sale with certainty that it's going to be worth my time. So, and the time is just like so precious right now because I have a baby. So I don't go to garage sales. But maybe when she gets older and I can just like take her to garage sales, that might be fun. Because I think YouTube videos about going to garage sales are fun, or flea markets or whatever. Do you participate in rotations at the bins? How do you do it? Yeah, so it depends on where you're located. I do always attend rotation at the bins if I am paying attention. Sometimes I get like so absorbed in what I'm doing that I like forget, and I look up and I'm like, oh crap. But yeah, so in Portland, you line up. It's a good time, I think, to check comps on the items that you found, because it takes a little while for them to take all the bins out and then take all the bins in, and you can't start until all the bins are there. I know some places that will like put sheets on top of the new bins and then they'll lift them and you can start. Portland's not like that. At Portland, you just wait until the last one gets out and then everyone starts, and you can take cues from everyone else. I mean, it's pretty obvious. But yeah, I would definitely recommend attending those, and like just get in that line and just stand there, stand your ground, like take up space and don't let people push you around. Just stay there and you'll get to go. Okay. Ooh, have my first employee coming in tomorrow. Advice on pay. I live in Louisiana and minimum wage is $7.25, which seems low to me even for a high school student. Yeah, I think that's pretty low. I would, that's what it is in Kansas too. It's like federal minimum wage. Here in Portland, it's $15 an hour, I think, is minimum wage. I'm not going to tell you what to pay. I think it does depend on where you live. And then what I would recommend, this is kind of what I always say, is like go on Indeed.com and see what similar kind of jobs are offering. And I mean, if you've already hired someone and you haven't discussed pay yet, that's interesting, because typically that's like one of the biggest questions that I receive in interviews. Or like, I'm sending over a job offer. But yeah, that's kind of what I would recommend, because it really depends on where you live. Like, if you're hiring in Los Angeles versus Wichita, Kansas, it's just going to be different. So, yeah, I would go on Indeed, just look up other jobs that are similar, that require like similar amount of background or training, and kind of try to be competitive and fair. Oh, okay, you couldn't get on Instagram, you prefer YouTube. That's good to know. I mean, I think the attendance has been great here, so thank y'all so much for joining. Maybe we should end on a couple more questions. If you have any other questions, let me know now, because I'm going to go probably in about 5 minutes. So, oh yeah, I talked about this last time. I would love to hear how you feel about trades to become Best of Air Collective. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. That's me, not them. I feel like I'm the only person excited about this change. I love that they don't accept returns. I am so tired of all the returns on Tradesy. And you can block people on Best of Air as well. Also, how are your eBay sales this week? eBay has always been my best performing platform, but this week has been dead for me, and Poshmark has been amazing. That's interesting. Best of Air, if I'm pronouncing that right or wrong, I'm not sure. Never sold on there. So I actually have no experience. I didn't know that they didn't accept returns. Tradesy, there's so many returns, so I totally can relate to you on that. I don't block people in general, like on any platform. Matt used to block people on YouTube. And I'd be like, why are you getting like some any comments that were like harassing? You'd block people, but I'm like live and let live. I don't really block people. Even on eBay, I don't really block people. But anyway, I know that's definitely a plus for a lot of people. My eBay sales this week have actually been pretty good. That's the thing, is like every time I post like, this is my worst month ever, this is my worst week ever, I'm reminded, because I get DMs and like comments or whatever, that for some people it's their best month ever, their best week ever. And so it's just it doesn't always, the cookie doesn't crumble the same for everybody. I don't know why I keep saying cookie crumble. It really depends on what kind of inventory you have. It depends on so many different factors. And so my eBay sales have been okay, but my Poshmark sales have been better actually this week. And Oh, my baby just woke up. So I'm glad Poshmark has been doing well. But again, I think it's just because I've been listing inventory that does particularly well on Poshmark. So there's just like so many different variables at play with when it comes to reselling, and inventory being the biggest one. Because some people are just going to have inventory that does particularly well on eBay, some on Poshmark, etc., Tradesy, and then especially when it comes to returns. I have friends who sell on eBay. They get virtually no returns. I have an excessively high return rate on eBay, 10%. And it's just because I sell at a higher price point and I accept returns. So that's really high. Okay, let me do these questions quickly. Have I tried or heard of credit card churning? No. I don't know what that is. She's up. Oh. She's hungry. Okay, I'll go in 1 second. Let me answer these questions. Oh, your first time with me live. Thank you. So just to end, I'm going to do one every Tuesday. Right now I'm going back and forth between Instagram and YouTube. I really like this one on YouTube. So hopefully, eventually we're going to pick one, I think, or maybe we'll go back and forth forever. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for joining. This has been really fun. So let me finish up these questions. Would you join one? Not? Yes, I think I'm going to try it eventually. I just need to figure out what kind of show I'm going to do and find some time to figure it out and watch some other shows before I do my own. Have you heard of Sellhound? Yes. It's been a while since I used it. How much does the average reseller make per year? Oh, that's a big question that I wouldn't know the answer to. And it really depends. If you're talking about full-time reseller, part-time reseller, hobby reseller, you're talking about an eBay reseller or Poshmark reseller primarily, or, clothing reseller. There's just so many different, or hard goods reseller, like there's a million different types of resellers. I don't know what the average would be. Probably under $100,000 a year. So that's when you factor in, your net profit. Probably guess that's average is under 100,000, but you can certainly make 100,000 or more. How much do you get paid as a YouTuber? You want me to pull out my receipts? I actually did this one year. Probably less than you think. I'll put it that way. I'm not rolling in the YouTube Google AdSense money over here, but I get paid pretty well, but less than you think probably. If you want to become an influencer on reselling, the money is actually in affiliate marketing and sponsorships, which I actually don't do a lot of either of those, sadly. How much percentage do you find you sell internationally? I've just started selling full-time a couple months ago in Australia and would be interested to know as I've switched on international portfolio. I think it's a massively important competitive advantage to selling on eBay is selling internationally. I don't know what my percentage is that I sell on eBay internationally, but it's like one of the biggest reasons to sell on eBay over the other platforms. Baby is up. Okay. I guess those are all the questions. Thank you all so much for joining. Yeah, she's stuck on our pacifier now, but it's time. It's time to go feed her. But thank y'all so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see. Hopefully, join me over on Instagram next week. Next Monday's YouTube video is going to be a thrift with us, with me and my employee coworker Tomas. It should be really fun. And make sure you check that out. Give that a big old thumbs up. Give this a big old thumbs up, please. And comment down below. Can you comment on the live videos? I don't know. Anyway, okay. Love y'all. Thanks so much for joining. Bye. I had a lot of fun. Bye.